This is the most insane challenge run I have ever done of any game or ever seen of any game, period. There are multiple back-to-back frame-perfect tricks in this game to minimize left and right presses. It is crazy. What you are about to see is a total of a month's work by Proa and I to minimize the left and right presses in Sonic Mania, and it is honestly just insane. You need to see this. Alright, you read the title, you clicked the video, you know why we're here. Today, we are here to find out if you can beat Sonic Mania without pressing right or left.
Now I know BillehBawb, you blah. Nathaniel Bandy already did video on this.
No! Nathaniel Bandy did not do a video on this. You know what he did? He only did without pressing right. This is without pressing right and without pressing left. Furthermore, Nathaniel freaking Bandy, he stopped after he found a right press instead of finding the minimum amount of right presses. What? Nathaniel Bandy took the easy way out in more way than one. Today, we're gonna pick up his slack. Also, before I get into this, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Proa. We basically did this challenge together, and he helped out so much with it. Without him, we would not be here today making this video, because I would have given up long ago. He's the one who initially tried this challenge. He left a comment on my video. We've been working together in my Discord server. It's great. So thank you so much to him for helping me out. Once again, I would not be here without him. So without further ado, let's get into the video. To do a run this difficult, we're gonna need someone who's hard as nails, and it ain't hard to tell. We're gonna pick Knuckles because he has extreme air mobility compared to the other characters. Gliding is kind of a replacement for walking, and climbing is kind of a replacement for jumping, so we're all good. Knuckles is good. Also, we can spin dash to build up a lot of speed easily. The main issue in this run is going to be turning around, because the only way we can turn around is if we grab onto a wall and then jump off of it. If you go to the left edge of the screen, you do not turn right. The main goal for this run is to minimize the amount of right presses and left presses. However, if there comes a point where we need to pick between a right or left press, we will pick a left because we want to find the minimum right and also the minimum left, but we're going to prioritize right presses over left because that's cooler. So, if we ever come upon a left press, it's not the end of the world. There's probably going to be a couple of those, but we're trying to get 0 right presses. Alright, Green Hill Zone, pretty easy. Standard stage. It's a pretty simple stage. There are no right or left presses in Green Hill Zone 1 or 2, and there's not really anything too notable. It's kind of like a intro stage to the challenge, but keep in mind that when I say this stage is easy, I mean it took me 40 minutes, which is not easy. That is a lot of time. You know that when the intro stage took 40 minutes, the rest of the run is gonna be pretty difficult. Despite what lies Nathaniel Bandy might feed to you, the Green Hill Zone Act 2 boss is very easy. It took me just a couple tries. The trick is that these legs actually don't have a hitbox, so you just kind of gotta get in there and be like, pew, 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 and then hit him a whole bunch, and then he dies. After we hit the capsule, it's time to splishy splash swiftly, straight stopping at Chemical Plant Zone. Chemical Plant Zone is fairly easy, or at least as easy as in this challenge, as I mentioned before. Chemical Plant 2 is also fairly easy, except it isn't. Chemical Plant Zone 2 is kind of a glimpse into the rest of this challenge, whereas the challenge isn't really in actually doing it, it's also in routing it. Chemical Plant Zone 2 has a huge, vast, winding level map where there are so many different paths to take. Picking the right path and finding the right one where you don't have to press left or right is very difficult. However, there is a very precise path that you can take. What you're seeing me do right now took me quite a while to find out to do, just because mapping it out without pressing left or right was so hard. So just after this, we go straight into the boss. The boss is hard. Here's why. It's Puyo Puyo, but you only have access to 3 columns and can't move left or right. So at first glance, this is impossible. Obviously, like, how would you be able to do this? You just stack up so fast, even by stalling it out, you can't do it. You just have to get really lucky or something, and that would never happen, right? Yeah, I'm screwed. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I meant to do that. Oh, shoot, and we have another 2-chain here. He kills himself after he gets some garbage. Okay, come on. This is totally it, Chief. This is totally it. Come on. Yes! Oh my god! Well, it so turns out that my 200 hours in Puyo Puyo Tetris have actually pulled off. Let's go. Robotnik just kind of freaks out and piles up garbage and kills himself after you send him like 1 or 2 chains, which are really easy to make. So, yay for them making it really easy on purpose. Alright, so that boss, that was crazy. Already pretty difficult to do, but it was possible. So let's move. Okay, so I don't really want to talk about it, but after overcoming the Chemical Plant Zone 2 boss, I was so happy. I was like, yes, we finally did it. And then it shoots you out on the spring, and then you have to press left. Left press number 1. Okay, so there's our first left press. It's kind of demoralizing, but whatever. On to Studiopolis. All right, Studiopolis is really easy. Act 1, I thought the boss might give me some trouble. It didn't. Boss was easy. Level was easy. Act 2, once again, pretty easy. Once again, easy isn't easy. Easy still takes me over an hour to do. All right, Studiopolis Act 2 boss. It's a bit harder. You can use these wind things to turn you around. I got it first try, however, Proa, when he played this, he struggled with it a bit, apparently. All right, Flying Battery Zone. All right, so we start Flying Battery 1. Pretty easy. Boss is pretty easy. It's the little crusher thingy, you know. And then we get thrown into Flying Battery 2, and all hell breaks loose. This level is one of the hardest in the game. Flying Battery 2 is once again a very, very difficult level to route. You know, if you've ever played Sonic Mania, probably that there's a top path and a bottom path in Flying Battery 2. You need to alternate between these two paths multiple times throughout the level just to get the right route to get to the end without needing to press left or right. When Proa went through this level, the best route he could find was one that required 2 left presses. When he can't do it, then that should be an indicator that this is extremely difficult. But I came in and we worked it out together, and there are actually 0 left presses in this stage. A very difficult part here is when you're transitioning from the top path down to the bottom path. There's this little funnel thing you have to go through, and normally if you drop through it, you get put in a state where you can't glide, and then you just get stuck on this fan. However, if you jump right before you enter it, you can actually glide just barely. I'm sure this is like 1 frame, 2 frames. It's so difficult. But even if you do get that, there's this section after that you have to carefully maneuver and hope you don't get hit off. And then if you get here and you don't have any rings, then you're screwed because you have to damage boost across these spikes by letting the wind push you. This level is just crazy, dude. And that's not even the end of it, because then we get to the boss. All right, so here's the deal. These little pull things on the side, normally you can hold what direction you want to be shot in, and you'll be shot in that direction, and it's totally easy. However, those directions are left and right. And really the only way to hurt this boss is by shooting into him with these pulls. If you time a jump into the bumper really well, then you can also hit it. But once again, you need left and right to do that to build up enough momentum to push him into the spikes. So we're kind of screwed here. However, if you get onto these swingy pull things and just press A without holding down any direction, it automatically sends you to the right. So theoretically, it's pretty easy. All we have to do is get to the left side of him, snipe him 8 times very precisely just to hit him into the spikes, hope we get knocked back far enough to grab onto the pull again for the next time, wait out his attacks, hope we don't get hit out of it, hope we don't accidentally miss the pull swing, and then we do it. Small issue though, we have to enter the boss facing right. And there's no way to get over to the left side of him because the boss only triggers once you go past the middle, so there's no way to use the bumper to go over to the left side. You can't use this pole over here to shoot at him because you get shot into the wall. So basically what I'm saying is, yeah, you have to press left here. This is the second left press of the run, and this is still easily the hardest boss of the run. If you thought the Chemical Plant Zone Act 2 boss looked hard, dude, this one is at least 2 times harder. Oh my god. This boss alone took me a lot of time to complete, and Flying Battery 2 in general took me a lot of time to complete because of everything I mentioned before. So in short, this level sucks. However, with extreme precision, a lot of patience, and a little bit of luck, and a left press, we can actually beat the Flying Battery Zone Act 2 boss. Next level, Press Garden Zone 1. Fairly easy, or at least I thought so until I got to the first obstacle. Now you can get past it by doing this weird glide thing. I don't know, you're seeing it. It's pretty precise, but it's not that difficult to do, so whatever. Yeah, let's go. Press Garden 1. Press Garden 1 also has a pretty difficult route. We had to look at level maps quite a bit for this, and it loops over the top and bottom, which didn't make it easy, but eventually we did find a route to get through it. This does have one kind of cool trick on it where you have to glide right up to the edge of this crusher and actually stand on it just enough so that you can glide onto these boxes, because if you just glide onto the crusher normally, the boxes will actually get crushed, and then you'll get crushed because there's no way for you to turn back to the right. But if you do this exact precise glide while you're standing on this exact part of the crusher, it actually won't activate, and you can turn around to the right and complete the crusher section. The boss is a piece of cake, just like in normal mode, and then we have Press Garden 2. Once again, Press Garden 2's routing is pretty difficult, but you know, I got through it. The Press Garden 2 boss is pretty difficult. What you have to do is enter facing the right, glide right into the middle of the level so that Heavy Shinobi drops on top of you and then hits you with his super icy blade and knocks you over to the left. Now you are facing right on the left side, and you just have to sit there and wait for him to jump on you to open him for an attack so that you can spin dash into him twice, rinse and repeat. The little Metropolis boys are kind of annoying, and you kind of have to get good RNG with where those are thrown, but you know, it's not too bad. But of course, eventually you get through the boss and head on to Stardust Speedway Zone Act 1. Stardust Speedway has more complicated routing because these little tube things are extremely annoying, but if you take only the top path, you should get to the boss pretty easily. However, the boss is actually impossible unless you enter it backwards by doing this weird thing at the previous part in the level, which shoots you into the boss while you're facing towards the left, so that's cool. Thanks to Proa for finding that one out, otherwise we'd be screwed. Anyways, after you figure out how to enter the boss while facing left, which took a while, you can beat it and move on to Stardust Speedway 2. Stardust Speedway 2 is easy, but eventually you get to Metal Sonic. You know, it's Metal Sonic. The second phase is actually the most difficult part of this boss. Surprisingly, it's not phase 3. Phase 3 is kind of annoying, Metal Sonic Kai, but you can beat it in just a couple tries. Nathaniel Bandy. Phase 2 is more difficult because you just end up getting hit, and you have to get good RNG with him shooting the lasers at you at times that you are available to jump over them, and the little mini Metal Sonics to blow up at the right times and hope that they do the right thing instead of spin dashing. So I don't know. This part's pretty RNG based. It's pretty like but you know, not too difficult. All right. So I was entering into Hydrocity Zone pretty confident. Hadn't had any left presses in a while. Feeling pretty good. Except that this is also one of the hardest zones in the game. What a shocker. So to start with, at the very beginning of Hydrocity, there's this little thingy that pushes you into these different hooks depending on where you let go of this weird pull thing. However, there are 3 options that happen when you let go of this weird pull thing. Option 1 is you get sent into a pulley, which sends you in an impossible direction. Option 2 is that you get sent into a different pulley, which sends you into a different impossible route. And option 3 is that you get stuck up against this wall with nothing you can do because you can't turn left. At least that's what I thought, except Proa, coming in clutch again. You can actually do a pixel perfect grab onto this little 1 block here. I didn't know that. You can actually do this on any little 1 unit high thingies. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. But after you get this pixel perfect grab, which you will probably drown multiple times before you can actually get it, you need to grab onto the correct pulley. Make sure you don't miss it, or you're gonna have to do the pixel perfect grab again. After you get thrown into the right direction, you need to follow the path and then jump with exact right timing so that you don't miss and mess up and have to redo the entire thing. But then you also have to make sure you don't accidentally get caught in these fans and that you glide at the exact right time so you grab the wall instead of getting caught in the fans and having to restart the whole thing. Then you have to get on this boat and then jump off. After you jump off the boat, you have to do a precise jump to grab onto this little hooky thingy, which shoots you in the direction you want to go. Then you need to get this little loopy part, grab onto this wall, pull this switch, go back around the other way so you're facing the right direction, go over these fans, grab the checkpoint, climb down just the right amount on this wall so you don't get caught by the fans, but also so that you can jump off and go to the next section. And that's not even the end of the level, but you've heard enough, you get the gist. On to the boss. Now this boss just has a little teensy little issue. You can't grab on the walls, and it's a vertical shaft. So this is gonna be fun. In normal play, you'd have to do a minimum of 2 right presses and 3 left presses to climb this vertical shaft, and that's just a minimum. So let's see if there's any way we can cut that down. Right at the start of the boss, if you press left, you can get this clip. It's not that difficult to get, where you can actually climb up this wall, and that's a left press to save like 10 million other presses, so that's not that bad, except you have to stop climbing this wall eventually and trigger the boss. Where does that happen? What can you do? Will this help us skip the right presses? The rest of the boss is pretty easy right and leftless, so I don't know. What will happen? Find out in part 2. I hate to leave this on a cliffhanger, but I haven't uploaded in so long, and I can't just make this a whole video. It would be way too long, so Part 2 should be coming out pretty soon. Will we be able to do this without pressing right? I don't know. This is where Nathaniel Bandy stopped. What could happen? Who will know? You'll have to watch the next part. This clip is pretty cool. Maybe it'll help us. I don't know. Make sure to hit the bell and subscribe if you want to see whether or not you can beat Sonic Mania without pressing right and with the minimum number of left presses. We're doing pretty well so far. We're halfway into the game with only 2 left presses. And once again, a huge shout out to Proa for bringing this challenge to my attention and also helping me out a ton with it. Without Proa, I would not have got as far in this challenge as I did. Let's just say that. Alright, and that's about all for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.